Hey everyone, Mad Hatter here, and welcome to a short Coliseum guide. In this video, I'm just going to be covering short little advices that are going to help you climb in Coliseum and actually compete in it for the best gem rewards you can possibly get. Do realize that I'm going to reference other guides that you might really want to check out. I'll try to link them in the description, but if I can't, please type the names that I've said out and find them. I promise they're easy to find, they're quite popular, so you won't struggle to find them. Now, what is Coliseum? Coliseum is AI designated PvP. It's essentially where you just slap a bunch of characters in a party. However, that's not what we're going to learn how to do. We're going to learn how to actually build compositions here. I'm just going to show you this isn't properly aligned. I'm in a tier where I can just stat check my opponents because I'm too lazy to climb. So I'm just going to be doing it. However, as a new player, you're not going to be able to stat check your opponents like this. So you're actually going to need to build. This is just what I'm showing you to teach you what it looks like. Essentially, all your characters are controlled by AI. It's similar to how it would be in story, except now your lead character is also controlled by AI. So you're really going to want to play around some things, and different characters have different mechanics and how they interact with other characters. So let's begin. I'm going to begin with something that's really simple. First step is to just use your tickets every day, okay? It's really nice if you can't beat an opponent, then at least get your daily battles in, because, you know, as long as you don't risk falling to a lower tier and getting significantly less gems, you should be realistically fine. Because it's important that you do this is to get your battle medals and to complete your daily missions. So you always want to be using your tickets. Tip 2 is to actually not refresh all too much. Refreshing once is perfectly fine because you get it for free. However, beyond that, it just isn't worth it. Every time you refresh, you're just subtracting the amount of gems you're realistically going to get from your weekly paycheck from Coliseum. So just don't bother with it. And the next part is to actually just position your heroes. You really want to position your heroes because, like, this is a completely drastic change in what this comp is going to do, because my tank is in the back, which means he's not going to be able to taunt enemy melees that are going to be jumping on here, right? And it really depends on what your team comp is. So for example, if you're running, let's say, MK99, you're really going to want MK99 in the back. And you're going to want to position it in a way that the enemy melees or backline divers aren't going to be able to access her. And the easiest way, you don't even have to figure it out, is to use a Colosseum calculator. You can search it up, Guardian Tales Colosseum calculator, on Google or any browser that has a search engine, and you're good. Click on the first link, and then you can put in the characters you have, put in the characters enemy has. Yeah, the stats and gear don't matter because it's how the character works, which isn't influenced by your gear. So, and just put in the positions you want, and it will literally tell you what characters are going to get attacked where, when, you know, who's going to attack who. So just use that. It's going to make things a lot easier and a lot more convenient, because it's going to prevent more mistakes. If you are, you know, personally interested in exactly learning how to do all this without a calculator, I will maybe in the future make a much more in-depth guide on positioning. However, for the quality of life, for saving, you know, time, just use the calculator. It makes things so convenient. This is super important to success, and that is use a proper team comp, okay? Here I'm using pretty much a perfect mono earth team. However, as a new player, obviously you're not going to have access to this. So what I recommend is watch my team building guides, watch my beginner guides, watch my, you know, character showcases and tier lists. Those are pretty generalistic, and I just don't slap characters on without explaining. I explain each and every character unless they're completely trash. So for example, Aleph, I won't explain because he's just bad, right? So watch those, and you'll learn how to generally form a good story composition that's going to do perfectly fine in Col. For example, let's start with what you can get right now really comfortably. If you reroll for Comma L plus EX, you're going to get Craig really easily for clearing World 7. And if you don't get up to that point, for some reason, you're easily going to pull in from the gacha, right? So you don't have to worry about that. And then you get Maya from the Beginner Canterbury event. If you don't have Maya, well, you can use another healer in her place. So someone like Aoba, right? You have these three. It's a solid comp already because it's going to get you everything that you need perfectly done. And all we need is Future Princess, another character you get for free. Obviously, it's not going to be, you know, a perfect team in terms of chain and everything. However, actually, it's a 4-chain. However, it's going to be really good because everyone here transitions into pretty much any other team. Comma L works on every team in the game. Maya is the best generic healer in the game. Craig is just the best straight out tank in the game. Future Princess is a really solid tank option for almost any team. And so you get a really really good buck out of your investment, and you're not going to regret it. And you can run this team perfectly fine in Colosseum. You're not going to be losing too much in the early brackets because you're mainly just going to be stat gapping them, and this is a good enough team comp for early on that most people aren't going to match you well enough. So do follow all these guys and, try to copy similar meta team comps. However, some team comps you're not going to be able to copy because they're just stat gapping team comps. So do be careful of that. For example, some melee, kamikaze teams where it's just, all melee characters that are just going to rush, no healer, no tank. They're going to rush at you and just kill you or they will die. Don't try to copy those because teams like that are complete stat checking teams and you're not going to be able to run them comfortably. Don't try to copy teams that have specific niche heroes. So for example, this Crocell team, you're not going to want to copy because you don't want to invest in Crocell early on. It's just not a good investment. You actually end up losing a lot more than you gain. So don't bother. Generic good teams you can actually try to copy are, for example, ones with, Future Princess, Kama, L, Craig. Like, this would be a team you could copy, except just replace Lina with someone like Maya, and you'll be perfectly fine. It's going to do great. You're going to get early gems really nicely. As you can see, the weekly gem rewards are really nice, especially as you start heading up higher and higher. You pretty much can get up to a point where you're going to be getting at least half to a full multi every week. What you do want to set your early on goal, though, if you're, more of a casual player, is gold. You want to get at least gold 2. And the reason I say that is because so you can get over half a multi per week just from Coliseum. If, you're a player who takes the game a bit more seriously, you're really going to want at least plat, right? And then as you start playing the game, you're generally going to conveniently be able to progress up. The reason why I'm in Diamond is literally because I don't play all that much. I'm not too keen on, the end game grind and stuff. It's super boring for me. So I'll occasionally just pop into my main account here and just do dailies and just hop out. It used to be one of my alts. However, I lost my main quite a while back ago. So I rarely play this because it's boring. In case you guys couldn't tell, I heavily enjoy the early to mid game so much. It's so fun playing through story, building up new characters. So yeah, anyways, ignore the tangent here. Let's go on to the next tip. That is to pay attention to your opponent's team comps. Early on, the main focus is going to be around not getting stat gapped. But there are going to be times where you're just going to get bullied by better teams, and you really want to notice those things. And sometimes you can even win with lower stats if their team sucks. So for example, if you see a team with like Arena, Paimon, Garam, and like Crocell, even if they, have like 10, 20, 30% higher stats than you, you're probably going to be able to beat them if you have a decent team composition, right? If you follow my guides with a decent team composition, you're going to be able to win those fights pretty nicely. So do pay attention to their team compositions as it's really important, in addition to yours also being really important. Next tip is to actually invest in your team. Don't just pick up, don't, go on YouTube, search up Guardian Tales best PvP guides, Guardian Tales best heroes. You're gonna really screw yourself over if you do that. Don't just, go find random, cool looking PvP heroes or heroes you see on YouTube videos. Like, for example, Arable, that's a really common one I see people investing in. Don't just see them and go, oh, I'm gonna use that hero because she's good in PvP. No, she's not going to give you the most bang for your buck. It's not going to be a good team that you're going to be able to make because a lot of high-end PvP teams that you see in YouTube videos are high investment, high reward teams. They're teams that are boosted off of, full max limit breaks, near perfect gear, and really good collection. So don't just blindly copy them. Invest in a good team that's going to be useful for everything else and that you can also use in PvP. And this is why you should follow my guides once again. So you can't build a full PvP team early on as a new player. Please don't summon for PvP characters because you're going to end up losing out. They're not going to be versatile. They're going to suck in all other content. And at the end of the day, you're just going to be left struggling. So it's not worth it. Follow my guides and you'll learn how to do that properly. Now, if you've found this helpful so far, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. It really helps out the channel, and we're so close to 1,000 subs, so make sure to do that. The next tip is to have a good balance of party buffs. You don't want to be running a team that's just full range damage, because the more of the same party buff you have, the more their effect diminishes. Now, party buffs are multiplicative. They are not additive. So 50% range damage plus another 50% range damage is not 100% additional range damage. It's not. It's actually 75%. So you don't just add the number. So it wouldn't be having 4 range damage characters. You wouldn't all of a sudden just start doing 200% range damage. You wouldn't. You'd be doing what? Oh god, the mental math is it's a bit annoying here. You'd be doing less than that. You'd be doing a lot less than that. So try to actually have properly balanced team comps. It's really what's going to, you know, help you climb. So for example, make sure you have defense, make sure you have HP, make sure you have, you know, the main damage type on your team. So for example, that's why the team I recommend is so unbelievably good. It's because it covers all grounds, right? Kama-L boosts his own damage with range damage. Great. Maya provides skill damage, because skills, it's going to be another tip upcoming. Skills are super important. Future Princess boosts HP, so you're going to be a lot tankier, especially because Colosseum already boosts your HP stat by quite a bit. Craig provides defense, so you're just going to be naturally taking less damage. You're going to have more health to survive with, and you're going to have more defense to take less damage with. It's phenomenal. So make sure to properly balance your team comp around those things. Next up, this tip is really important, and that is maximize your skills, weapon skill regen speed, and weapon skill damage. In Colosseum, your weapon skills are so important. Every second matters. So make sure you get as much weapon skill regen speed on your gear as you possibly can. Skill damage is super important. It's really important that you do this, because your lead character is so vital for Colosseum. Make sure to do this. Weapon skill regen speed and skill damage are very important for Colosseum. And if you can help it, this is probably one of the more lesser important tips, because it really depends on when you're starting out, right? So right now, if you start out, you're going to get Kama-L and you're going to have a banger start. However, you might also start on a arguably slightly better week with, for example, let's say just Beth. Now, Beth is a phenomenal hero. No one's going to tell you Beth is bad. I have my Beth really high invested because she's just that good of a hero. However, generally ranged characters are better because they're more splashable, i.e. more versatile, and they just have more support. That's it. That's literally it. They don't have some sort of hit. Actually, they do. Let me explain. They have a special mechanic. So in Colosseum, whenever you're fighting a battle, you're going to notice something. 99% of good teams have a tank, and the fundamental thing that allows a tank to properly protect their team is a taunt. So you want a character that can either A, go through that taunt either indirectly or directly, or a character that can backline dive. However, Beth has good backline AI, so that's why she's good in Colosseum. However, some other melee heroes might not, so you might really struggle with that, which is why I'm gonna say in general, if you have more ranged heroes, more versatile ranged heroes, you can check out once again my team building guides, tier list, my, you can ask my Discord and stuff, all that. If you have those options, it's generally going to be better to use ranged than melee unless you have a good melee team. For example, you see this team right here? Yeah, guess what you can also do? Just change Kama-L for Beth, and it's another really good team. Because Beth is going to be unkillable within this team. She's going to be so tanky due to the party buffs, due to having a tank. She's going to be doing so much damage. You're going to have a phenomenal amount of success, right? This is what I mean. Maya, Future Princess, Craig are the most versatile, accessible heroes within the game. And the reason why I say this is because one is literally free for clearing World 9. One is either free in the beginner event or something most people are going to have anyway. And the other is just a rare hero, so you're going to be able to get him super easily if you already haven't managed to pull him in the gacha. So, yeah, just follow that core and you'll be good. Now, that's it for the guide. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. I will see you all in the next one.